Hello, everyone. I'm the Bodacious Cowboy with my co-host, Kristy Knichel. Are you ready for a special edition of the Storytelling Chronicles? We are. Let's go.
Look out! Pop, it's showtime. Showtime. Guess who's back again? Oh, they don't know. I bet they know as soon as we walk in. Shut up. I'm wearing Cuban links, designer mix, Inglewood's finest shoes. Don't look too hard, might hurt yourself. Know the color red, the blue.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Storytelling Chronicles, empowering women into logistics. How you doing, Kristy?
Doing wonderful. Another great Monday.
Yes. Did you have a good weekend?
Yeah, it was great. My husband went away for the weekend, went to some hunting convention in Harrisburg, and I got to spend time with my son and his two friends that are 13, 14, going to the movies. And yeah, it's interesting with three teenage boys over the weekend. So
there you go. So each boy got another gun, and now instead of 25 guns, you have 50, right?
Right. Craziness, that's for sure. So
yeah, we got a great show today. We got a great guest. Why don't you tell the folks out there who we have?
Yeah, absolutely. I can't wait to bring her on here. We have Jessica Dotson. And as usual, where's my stuff? You gotta be kidding me. There it is. I found it. Sorry, y'all.
Life is beautiful.
I know, right? Jessica Dotson is the Director of Business Development at Multi-Service Fuel Card and Vice Chair of Women in Trucking Foundation, which she's just recently been appointed. So can't wait to talk about that. She also just joined the Broker Carrier Summit Women in Logistics Group, which I'm a part of. Super excited to have her. And then she's also a dedicated professional in the trucking industry. Her passion is for this dynamic field that goes far beyond just a career choice. It's deeply a personal journey that she has shaped her perspective and commitment to making a positive impact in the trucking world. She stood lockstep with her husband as he embarked on his dream of becoming a truck driver, witnessing his unwavering dedication and hard work from his days as a student driver to becoming a proud company driver, and filled her with her admiration for her essential role as truck drivers play in keeping our world moving. It was through a local trucking company that her husband was giving the transformative opportunity to purchase his own semi-truck, taking the leap into entrepreneurship and starting his own business. This pivotal moment not only has fueled his ambitions, but also sparked her ambitions and yielding commitment to the industry. The trucking industry is not just her career, it's an integral part of who she is. Her experiences have instilled her to have a profound understanding of challenges, triumphs faced by truck drivers and fleets alike. From the back office to customer relations, account management to sales and leadership roles, she has immersed herself in various facets of the industry to drive progress in empowering fleets, both large and small, and her dedication to the trucking world goes way beyond the day-to-day responsibilities. It's a mission to foster positive change and growth within the industry, whether it's streamlining operations, optimizing financial strategies, or forging meaningful partnerships. She is very committed to supporting the success and well-being of the truck drivers and the entire trucking community. And with that, we'll bring her on in.
Definitely. Hello, Jessica. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks, Jeff. How's it going?
It's going pretty well for a Monday. Let's talk again on Friday, and then I'll tell you really how I feel. So
I can tell you how it's going for me. I couldn't find my little buddy was there initially, but this is how it works, right?
Hey, it's always better to have those type of problems on a Monday rather than a Friday. You know that. So
yeah. I agreed. Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So there was a lot there that I read, and obviously your husband is an integral part of all of this. But let's start off by you talking about your career journey, why you're at where you are today, and definitely want to hear a little bit of that backbone of your husband as well.
Yeah. I was in accounting for a long time. That's where I started as a young adult. I thought finance was my world. That's what I went to school for. I come from a family of entrepreneurs. My family owned and ran a fishing resort down in southern Missouri. So since I was little, it's always been boots on the ground, grassroots, you kill what you keep kind of thing. So it's been embedded in me since I was little. When my husband, came home one day and he said, I am so tired of working out of the back of the truck. I'm ready to work in the front of the truck. He was a forklift operator for years in warehouses. I, said, great, this will be fun. So watched him on his journey. Whenever he first started driving a truck, it was whenever he's obviously you have to go through student driving. And that was interesting. All the careabouts living in a truck with a, teacher driver, lots of stories there. But whenever he transferred and transformed into a company driver, that was a whole different perspective for me. I was at home with our little boys at the time, just taking care of day to day, holding down my own career in accounting. But then I was getting calls from him at night whenever his clock was running down. And if anybody's had a Qualcomm in their cab, you know what it sounds like whenever you're coming across your hours ending. Lots of sirens, lots of beeping, lots of your time's out, hours of service are up. And then he was having hard times finding truck parking. And so I'd have to get on my computer, my laptop, and do a quick search and try to find out the nearest and closest location to him. Quickly found out that you got to find a location that allows semi-trucks, not just a gas station like what we're used to. So a lot of misdirecting, misguiding, lots of Walmart parking lots. I found him. But it was really stressful, and I learned a lot about all the ins and outs of what it takes to be a truck driver that I had no clue even existed. Finding parking, I mean, that doesn't matter to people like us. Finding somewhere to park overnight, hotels, you can't do that. Right. So learned a lot about what it takes to actually be a truck driver on the road. And from there, he did that for about a year. And from there, he found a local company here in Kansas City that got him home every night. That was wonderful. Super excited to have him home every night. Being a single mom at home, holding it all down was new to me. We'd been married for 10 years at that point, and we were in each other's lives day in and day out. And he helped with the kids, great father. And to have him just out of our lives that quickly was hard. He was only home every 3 or 4 weeks and for 2 days at a time. And so it took some adjusting. So whenever he got a local driving job, he did drive regional. He drove, about 200-300 miles a day under his 10-hour limit, but he was home every night, if not every other night. And from that point, the gentleman that owned the company offered his drivers a chance to buy trucks flat out. He didn't upcharge them, didn't have, a lease increase. They just was flat price for the truck, and they would buy it and stand up their authority and start running on their own. And so that interested my husband quite a bit. So he took on the owner-operator side of the business. When he told me he was going to do that, I immediately jumped in and said, well, I know how to run the back office. Yeah, not so much.
Well, you're good on parking now, right?
So good on parking. I figured that piece out, kind of. Like I said, lots of Walmart parking lots. Sure. I felt like I was a pro at that time. Me and my Google searches worked out quite well. Now I'm going to be a master at the back office because I know accounting, so I know it all. Quickly learned. There's much more to back office work for trucking companies. And in my mind, I'm like, what school do I go for that? And I was like, I don't know of any. So I strategically looked for a career in the trucking world. And so I found a position at a trucking company here in Kansas City and started in the back office just as a billing clerk and learned a plethora of information, safety, orientation, EDI, trip packs, driver pay, booking loads, dispatch, all sorts of stuff. Learned a ton of knowledge at that location. And throughout the years, I worked in brokerages and factoring companies, just really deliberately positioning myself in the industry to learn all of the things that it takes to have a successful trucking company. And I never would have imagined that I would have landed in a company like Multi-Service Fuel Card, where I found my own way, found my own career, and positioned myself in a spot where I don't want to leave ever. And not just on our trucking company, but in the career I'm in, business development and the fuel card side. It's been incredibly rewarding to work for a company that recognizes growth potential in individuals that put in hard work and allow them the freedom to grow within that arena.
Yeah, I'm like you. I mean, my whole career, I never got pigeonholed in one specific area of the supply chain. I wanted to get the diverse knowledge from cradle to grave and everything in between. It seems like you did the same thing, which is great because anytime that a topic comes up in your area of knowledge, you can talk about it and talk about it reasonably and know exactly what's going on. So it's awesome that you did that.
Yeah, I don't know about exactly what's going on, Jeff.
But you know a little bit about a lot of things.
A little bit about a lot of things, yeah. Enough to make me dangerous, yeah.
And I love that you went to find a job to figure out to how to help your husband. Now, my question is, are you still doing that now too?
Yeah, there's still a piece of me that's always attached to our trucking company. I mean, you can't help that. You can't separate those two things. I travel a lot. I go to a lot of conferences. I'm learning something every single day. I learn something new from people every single day, and that knowledge absolutely helps our trucking company. I'd like to say I'm the know-it-all of the bunch, but my husband still outreigns me. Being behind the wheel, being in the truck, being boots on the ground, he's always way more knowledgeable about the trucking than I am. In regards to, the brokerage side or the connections and the relationships, that's where I feel like it's valuable for our business. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Not what you know, it's who you know.
Yeah, it's who you know.
Sure.
Yeah.
I speak of that all the time because I have a huge network that I don't know that at one point in my career, I said, should I be adding all these people or is it just wasting my time? But ultimately, it builds your brand and you find people, you reach out and talk to and connect. Now, you can't with all of them, at least I couldn't, but it's definitely helpful for sure. So. But yeah, it's interesting because one of the questions I did have for you was how did your husband's career as a truck driver basically influence your own path? You just pretty much explained that, which I love. I mean, I think that is so unique. I don't think I've talked to anyone who's actually done that type of thing before. So I find that very inspirational.
Yeah, everything I do, everything I touch, especially for my career in our company, it's deliberate to help truck drivers. How can I not love truck drivers when my husband is one? All of his friends are truck drivers. I was there picking him up at the truck driver school when we were down to one car whenever he's going through truck driver school, and the people that he went to school with, he's still friends with. They're still on the phone. They're still talking. I've gained a ton of friendships along the way whenever I was in account management, learning about these owner operators that are out on the road and the impact that every decision that we make on the professional side impact them. It's very, sometimes I get too passionate. I've got a great leadership team around me to keep me grounded, but yeah, it's hard not to be passionate about something that affects us personally.
Let me ask you this. A lot of stress points in your life, right? Let's talk a little bit about the balance between your job and raising kids. And how did you do that? Were you remote or were you in an office setting? I mean, let's talk about that a little bit. How did you actually balance that? Because I find that hard to believe. I mean, because it is a demanding field that you're in. So
what balance?
There you go.
Whenever my little boys were smaller, it was a little bit more challenging. Well, I'm going to go off out on the limb and say it was a lot more challenging, right? It was, it's very hard to juggle children in daycare and school and the random 99-degree temperature that sets them out of class and having to, really navigate PTO. I could take PTO for what's personal time? PTO, I didn't get to plan vacations or time off for me. That is dedicated time to make sure I have enough to allot if I have to go grab a kid from school. I don't have family around me. It is just me. When my husband is on the road, I can't count on him to turn the big rig around, lose a day's worth of pay to come and get a kiddo from school. How would you even explain that to the school? He's about 3 hours out. If you could just hold him in the office for a little bit, you don't do that. So it is truly being a single parent. Navigating it was a day-by-day task. There was no strategic or methodology around it. It was very much on my knees pray that today is going to go okay and that the kid's not going to call or the husband's not going to have a situation, because there's times whenever he needs me just as urgently as the kids do. Hey, I need you to pull this up. I need you to look at that. I need you to check on this. And it's definitely a balancing act. To tell you how I did it, I couldn't tell you, Jeff, day by day. It's really just a day by day. I found very good employers that understood. Fortunately, in trucking, who you work for, they get it, especially when you're wearing all the hats you do. They are very empathetic. I've been very fortunate in my career to have that kind of opportunity with the companies I've worked for. But I think that goes a long way as well with making sure that you are a hard worker and you're working when you're supposed to. Because when you work for somebody and you're doing what you're supposed to, you are on task, you're prepared. If you have to jump out and leave real quick and grab a kiddo, they're understanding of that because they know you're going to put in the hard work when you are there. So I think it's just not only about how do you juggle it, but how do you make sure that you are a professional in what you're doing as well to allow that leniency when you need it.
So when the kids went to sleep, you went back to work at night, right?
Never stopped. And I mean, it was a two-edged sword. I did the same thing whenever I went to school. I went to school as an adult. Kids were sleeping. I was taking finals. It's just, it's all about the grind. You work for what you want. And you work as hard as you want to let yourself work. I'm unfortunately a hard worker.
I love that.
Yeah, it's awesome. If nobody ever told you you're awesome, I'll tell you, you're an awesome person.
Yeah,
I mean, that's huge responsibilities, demands.
Yeah, and it takes a certain kind of person, I think, to understand that if this is what you want in this kind of lifestyle too, like you just have to do what you need to do to get there.
Right.
And talking about, you mentioned about working for good employers. So can you tell us a little bit too about my multi-service fuel card and like how that journey has been for you? And again, like, I don't know that side, so to speak, right? So is there a lot of women in that? Is that side male dominated too? Like, what is that like, for you going, up in your career there?
Yeah, when I started with multi-service, I started at Multi-Service Technology Solutions, and it's transitioned names over the past few years. When I first started, not gonna lie, there was a good old boys club mentality. Leadership changed. Leaders came into roles that made changes. It's very much a split now on the senior leadership team. It's a 50-50 split. I think extended leadership, I think the women are outweighing the men on that side. I think it's 52% women on that side. It's a much different world now. Over the past few years, I have an amazing leader. Our CEO's incredibly empathetic and understanding of women in their roles. We also have a family-friendly policies. That's a mouthful. We do offer not only maternity leave, but paternity leave. So it makes it nice. We have a DEI initiatives that make sure that we're on track with, diversity and inclusion on our team. We also have mental health well-being support systems in place. So it's a very, I can't speak enough. I know it sounds like so sales pitchy, but I truly love where I work. That is home to me, and the people that surround me and the other women on our team are just different than what you're used to in the industry. I found a great space where there are tons of men and women that we rise each other up, and we come together and we collaborate to make things work. Again, it's all about people that I work with being incredibly hard workers as well. We work hard for the business, and the business takes care of us.
Yeah, I love that. That's awesome. To go back for a second, you talked about how initially it was the boys club. So how was that? Like, I don't know that you want to, if you don't feel talking about the experiences, but like, were there ways that you had to get things done, or, just maybe talk about that a little bit and like how that was. And now obviously it's so different, which I love hearing that. So.
Yeah. So, we'll just take a step back a little bit more and talk about the trucking industry as a whole, as I've worked through different elements and different aspects of trucking. Obstacles I have faced personally have been really fighting for equal pay, fighting for respect in a room. People don't typically see women as knowledgeable in trucking because of the industry that it's been for many, 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 many years. That's an inherited lack of knowledge, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. So I feel like fighting for a voice in the room was a little challenging. She doesn't know what she's talking about. She doesn't know what she's talking about. I still get that to this day. I in business development, I meet a lot of people in a lot of different business types. And I do need to come into the room with knowledge before respect. Unfortunately, my colleagues will walk into a room and just because of their gender, the assumption is that you know what you're talking about.
Sure.
Myself personally, I walk in a room and it's, here we go, somebody trying to fit in, and so fortunately, through the last few years, meeting people and people learning about me and my backstory, I get a little bit more respect now. But in the beginning, it was definitely I had to prove myself, and it wasn't just an immediate respect because of who I am.
Yeah, I would say the same thing that I experienced, obviously coming in at a young age myself, and it is hard navigating through that. And I think the more we talk about it, there's definitely been a lot of change over the last several years. I mean, I've been doing this 27 years myself, and I'm glad to see a lot more women in the space. There's a lot more men helping rise women up as well, because we all have to do this together to just, like you said, respect each other at the end of the day and teach each other, not just assuming this person doesn't know as much. And even if they don't, what are you going to do to help them get there instead of just kind of letting them flounder if that's how they feel, So I appreciate you sharing that, because I know sometimes it's not easy for people to talk about it. I know for me, though, I think it's something that needs to be talked about so that more people are aware, so that they can make changes if they need to. And even if that's giving a woman confidence that they need to have to walk in the room as well, I think is important for sure.
And that's why we do this show, so that women get the opportunity to discuss these type of problems that they had. They may not have it now, to help out the next generation and the women that are, leveling up and stepping up into higher ranking roles and feel that, that power when they walk into a room, that they don't have to feel what you felt, because I mean, it's like, should I say it or should I not say it? No, be yourself, be authentic, say it the way that it is. I mean, I think we can all agree that, respect isn't given, it's earned. And the way that you do it is, to promote yourself and believe in yourself and what you do. And that comes across in volumes. It really does, where you don't have to have that feeling of, oh no, here we go again. I don't want to be here, So I hear what you're saying. I've been in it for 45 years and I've seen it, where we had very, very small amount of women representatives, in the trucking industry. Definitely more males than females, and then the evolution of women coming in and getting better jobs and getting, managerial jobs and VP and directors and presidents like Shelley Simpson. Here she is at JB Hunt, leading a huge company. I mean, that's the evolution, but we're still not where we need to be. And that's why we have people like yourselves who put on here. So,
yeah, I mean, one of the most useful tools that I always keep in my pocket, and I'm not sure which course it was that I took that I learned this. We take a lot of the emotional intelligence courses through our organization, which has been extremely helpful. Anytime you have emotional intelligence, you're able to really listen, understand, be humble, and it helps you. I mean, they say these days that EI is more important than IQ, or EQ is more important than IQ.
Sure.
You can be as smart as you want, but if you don't have emotional intelligence, you're not going to have a culture around you that supports one another. And the healthier those relationships are, the better your organization is going to be. But back to where I started, I tend to go off track quite a bit. The best advice I got was asking somebody for help builds trust. And I don't think I've ever had a problem asking for help. Asking questions. Asking the group, what is it? Why is it? I think that goes a long way. I think that there's also a part of, women that are out there in the industry that have been out in the industry for a long time that have become extremely callous to, what they face, and a little bit of bitterness on presumptions about men that come into a room. Oh, you're already going to think this about me. Now I have to prove it. And so sometimes being a little bit more, patient and asking questions goes a long way. That's where I built some really strong relationships. I travel a lot and I talk to a lot of people, and asking questions has really built my knowledge and my trust in others as well. So I think that goes a long way.
Yeah, I think that's great. I mean, and kind of going into your leadership style, like, what do you think, like, what experience or experiencing that has that helped you kind of shape the leadership style you have today, you feel, and how you've become more outspoken?
I think that not necessarily my position as a leader to others, but being a leader with others has absolutely helped me and shaped me who I am. I have a leadership team that I'm part of that has taught me and shown me so many different valuable tools throughout my career. So I know a lot of people will talk about their leadership styles, how they lead people, but I'm going to kind of flip that. I think that immersing yourself around strong leaders is equally, if not more, beneficial than leading others. I've taught a lot of strong skills by who I'm surrounded by.
Yeah, I like you saying that too, because I have a leadership team now that I would say it used to like be me and the COO. Now there's 6 of us, and it definitely is a different vibe having more people in the room and hearing all those different perspectives as well.
Yeah.
And then I also feel like, oh, it's not all on me. At the end of the day, I have other people that can help with that situation or whatnot. So
Yeah, and our CEO is incredible at listening to the entire room. I'm sure in that level, you get perceived as the one knowing it all or pushing back and challenging opinions, but our leader's much different than that. He encourages all to speak up because change can't happen by silence. And so we're all encouraged to speak up and give our input and collaborate. We all have meetings together where we collaborate openly together, which is a room full of trust. Because
Right.
if you don't trust somebody, you're going to defend. And if you defend, you're never going to grow. And so I think it's been where I work is a great place when in regards to leadership style and how they're doing it. They're nailing it.
yeah, no, you're right. Because if people don't speak up, you're never going to really, and that's something I've tried to really push throughout my organization, which is tough because some people, they're still afraid of that or afraid of change, or it's
Right.
okay to be wrong, at the end of
Yeah.
the day. Or maybe you just don't have the best situation that you feel you could have been, but having those conversations, I think, are so crucial. And I tell my people all the time, like, I don't know it all. I have my opinions, but I want to hear your opinions because you're doing it every day.
Yeah.
Right.
You
A
know,
different perspective. Yeah, a different perspective coming into the room. Man, some of the best ideas come out of collaboration with a room full of smart people. And that doesn't just stick within the senior leadership team, that goes to the whole group. We're always open. We have, boy, I'm going to chop it up. We have a opportunity for everybody that works for our company to suggest ideas and improvements. And then we do a drawing on which idea is the best, and they get rewarded for that, as well as the people that had the ideas. So we encourage innovation with an infinite mindset that can help sustain our business long past where we are. We're a team of servant leaders. We believe in helping those around us to create a better future because we're not going to be in the seats we're in forever, and we want the business to be successful far beyond us.
I love that. So before we go to our break, can you talk a little bit more about, I know you're the director of business development, fuel cards, but like, can you explain a little bit more? What does that mean? What is it that you do in the company? Are there other service offerings?
Yeah. As director of business development for multi-service fuel card, I just stand up partnerships, nurture our partnerships, partner with any business that would like to be able to offer a fuel card as well, have a fuel card offering. I travel quite a bit, just learning more things about what we need as a business as a whole, anything that can make our business grow, new business on all different aspects. I work with merchant partners. I work with existing customers as voice of customer. I look at different business types, whether it be brokerages, factoring companies, consulting companies, advisors, tech companies. I work with every different type of business out there to join together as partners to help, really solidify and nurture relationships and be resources for customers to be able to get operational costs ran more lean.
And is your fuel card for just truck driving?
We have a mixed fleet card. We have it for truck drivers of class 7 and 8. We also have a fuel card for class 1 to 6. So it's really to help fleets out there minimize their fuel costs through discounts and locations and optimizing their lanes, and also reporting and platforms to accommodate that spend.
Okay, gotcha. No, that's awesome. Well, we are going to take a quick break and go to our sponsors.
Yes, so let's start off with Ty.
Yes. So TMS simplifies freight management for brokers, offering an all-in-one platform for quoting, booking, and tracking shipments. Learn more at tiesoftware.com.
In the fast-paced world of freight brokering, success demands a battle-ready strategy. Tide TMS equips brokers with the ultimate battle station for conquering a tough market. With Tide, brokers gain access to a comprehensive platform where rate intelligence and quote history converge on a single screen. It's not just a page. It's a strategic command center designed to help brokers win. Tide equips your team with all the data they need to negotiate with confidence and allows them to communicate directly with carriers and customers from a simple control base. Revolutionize the way your brokers perform by giving them a competitive advantage with Tide TMS. For more info, scan the QR code or go to tide-software.com/battlestation.
Freight Validate, the ultimate identity and compliance verification system for the logistics industry. Freight Validate empowers shippers, brokers, carriers, and more to ensure compliance with regulations and mitigate fraud risk. With Freight Validate, you can easily verify entities' compliance status and identify potential threats within minutes. Don't risk your business with unverified carriers or brokers. Choose Freight Validate for peace of mind. Learn more at freightvalidate.com and start your verification process today.
Freight brokers and motor carriers depend on Freight Validate to stop fraud, but they can't do it alone.
Shippers must verify every carrier that comes in to pick up a load.
Hey Siri, check Freight Validate.
Sure, what's the MC number?
123127.
The company you can rent ME LLC is a carrier and cannot be completely validated at freightvalidate.com. The platform is not able to verify information obtained in federal, state, or public sources in regard to identity, risk assessment, or compliance history with 100% certainty. Please follow company protocols for additional safety and compliance vetting. For more information, please go to freightvalidate.com.
Fly-by-night freight brokers, how can I help you?
Mr. Broker, why did you send me this carrier? They are not validated on Freight Validate. Please do not send me any carrier that is not validated on Freight Validate. If you are not using Freight Validate, I suggest you start. I'm sorry, we cannot load you. Your company does not meet our compliance standards. Please call your dispatcher for more information.
Fraud starts with fraud. It ends with Freight Validate.
And TAPS Inc., which provides transportation factoring solutions to boost profits and increase cash flow for small and medium-sized companies. Contact TAPS at taps.com to elevate your financial success.
At TAFS, trucking excellence meets unparalleled service. Enjoy exclusive benefits like our fantastic tire discounts. Need cash fast? Try our 1-hour advances. Plus, we're here for you 365 days a year. Need loads? We have a pro dispatch service. This is why TAFS was recognized as the top factoring company in 2023. You'll benefit from strategic partnerships for enhanced operations. Access business loans and manage your finances easily with our client portal, F2 Fuel Card, and mobile app. At TAFS Factoring, we're more than just a factoring company. We're your partner in success. Contact us today to see how we can help your trucking business thrive.
And we are back.
Awesome little break there. So, second half. So, as vice chair of the Women in Trucking Foundation, congratulations, by the way.
Yeah.
Thank you.
How do you see the landscape changing for women entering and growing within the trucking industry? Just based on, again, I know you probably go to the events, and I haven't been to one in a while. I feel bad, but just curious to hear your perspective of how that's going and what that's going to be.
Well, the foundation side is much different than the actual Women in Trucking Association side. So I'm going to take a step back here and talk more about the foundation side, which is where I'm way more familiar and where I see that growth coming from and going towards. The foundation is the side of the Women in Trucking Association that raises money for young women, middle-aged women, older women that want to get into the trucking space in whatever arena that may be, whether that's a diesel mechanic, whether that's logistics, whether that's business development like myself, whatever arena they want to go towards, it provides the money to accommodate that skill set. So we raise the money to be able to do that. And then we offer scholarships quarterly throughout the foundation to women that want to grow in trucking. So it's extremely exciting for me. When I first got in, I was just like, oh, this is going to be fun. I got nominated to be on the board, and I was like, oh, I get to make a difference. I get to be a voice, and let's go. And then I quickly realized the impact that the foundation actually has on women in this space. And it's definitely fueled a fire to raise awareness, as well as the donation side of this, to be able to help more women get into this space, which is really needed. I didn't realize how needed it was because of my path being much different than the paths that are available to people out there now. I was very much a, jump in and figure it out. But I realized through my journey in trucking that there are opportunities out there for women to get funded through scholarships to go to school for different types of trades. The one that fascinates me the most that I overlooked was the diesel mechanic side. I'm completely oblivious to that piece. I don't know why, because we actually have a female mechanic at MHC that works on my husband's truck. So I don't know why that was kind of over my head. I just felt like maybe it didn't cost. Maybe you get on the job training, but quickly found out that this can get very expensive very quick. CDL training, it's very beneficial when you can go to an actual certified truck driving school instead of working for one of these larger mega fleets out here through their programs. I don't know a lot about who does what. So I'm just overall what I've learned in my experience with my husband, it can get very costly to go and work as a student driver for a trucking company versus going to a truck driving school and being awarded a scholarship for that. So being able to really get out there and raise awareness and let people know about the foundation has been very rewarding for me, because I've raised quite a bit of money with the team on the board to accommodate these and grow that money piece much larger to offer more scholarships.
So how does that work? Is there so many people per year that they give this scholarship out to? And is it enough to pay for like a specific schooling, or is it just obviously like a piece that will help them on that journey? I guess it probably depends on where they're going, right? But
that's right. You've answered your own question. It just depends on where they're going, what trade they're going to get into, how much money we're able to raise. Sometimes we have donors that are specific to who they want to donate to and what field they want to donate to. And so we have donations, we have sponsorship levels, we have grants that we are awarded to the foundation. So as we all know, the more money, the more recipients. And so the handful that we get now is distributed between equal parts of people. The more money we can raise, the more people we can help.
Love it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you just started this, correct?
Well, I was nominated to be on the board of directors in March of last year, and then I was nominated to be vice chair at the end of this last year for the term of 2 years.
Awesome.
And I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to keep on being something immersed in that arena. I think that it's an extremely important foundation. I've not seen anything else like that in the industry. It's the only foundation I know of that's specific to issuing scholarships for women. And so I'm just spreading the word, which I'm found to be pretty good at. I talk a lot.
No, well, that's awesome. And obviously with your experience in talking a lot, goes into my next question. So maybe talking to other women, what barriers do you hear them say that they still face that maybe we need to continue to work on?
Progress is being made, but safety and harassment still remain one of the most urgent concerns for women in trucking. Addressing these issues really requires industry-wide reforms, company policies, culture shifts to make trucking safer for career women. I mean, not just in trucking, but women face that anyway. But then you immerse yourself in that space and it can be a big concern. Personal example for myself, I take for granted that I'm able to travel fluidly throughout the United States at these events. I typically have a team around me. If I don't have a team specifically with me, I know enough people to have multiple people at dinners and have drinks or breakfast and coffee. But I find myself more frequent than not these days needing to set up a dinner appointment or a lunch or a breakfast, and it's typically myself and a male. And then I can't do that. Not that I would feel unsafe, but also, unfortunately, the appearance of that can be misconstrued. So it's an awkward position to be in as a woman. I'm sure for the male side of that too. How do you navigate that arena? How do you, have lunch, brunch, dinner, drinks with a male or female counterpart without the illusion of something different? So that's something I personally have had to navigate around. Again, know enough people these days where I can typically say, hey, come along, or go to an open bar like at the BCS events and have thousands of people around you and you don't have to worry about it. But that's something that I personally had to navigate myself.
It's the same as HR in any company, especially if you're a disciplinarian and you've got a woman in there, you're a male, you've got to have another woman in there.
Yeah.
Well, because you never know, unfortunate. Some people are vindictive,
yeah,
and
that is correct.
You've got to be very careful.
It makes it awkward. It makes it awkward. That's what I'm just going to end it with. That it makes it awkward. Having companies that are extremely intelligent and knowledgeable what's happening in their business is also very important. Knowing that you have a predator that works for you is very important to identify and get them out and not let that behavior continue, no matter how important they are with the company. But yeah, I would definitely say the safety and harassment side for women is still pretty bad, and it needs to be addressed.
Just a little correction: it's not just him; it could be a her too.
That's exactly right.
They're on.
That's exactly right.
They're on both sides, and you've got to be very, very careful for sure.
Yeah, and that does make it hard for women in trucking, women in male-dominant industries, to build trust, to say, "Hey, it's safe," because that also creates a whole nother barrier.
Isn't that terrible, though? They have to think that way.
Yeah,
seriously.
And I think it's terrible that, I love doing this and putting it out there because we need to talk about it. But it's just, I feel like it's horrible. I'm sitting there thinking, I'm so concerned for the women coming into the industry, especially the younger ones, thinking, do I have to do something that's inappropriate to keep my job, or just because of the things I've been through? And I'm not saying it happens to everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
But, I feel like motherly almost in a sense of because of what I've gone through and what I've experienced, that I need to protect someone else, and we need to talk about it and make sure they know it's not okay.
There's a lot of intelligent women out there that probably wouldn't want to get into supply chain and logistics. Unfortunately, they hear the god-awful stories, and it's just no, I don't want to get anywhere near trucking. Yeah. The guys are like this, the guys are like that. I don't want to get in a warehouse. Guys are like this. You hear it all the time. I've heard it for decades, and then, they started putting the clamps on, but it didn't happen like that. It took a long time, and it's still going on, unfortunately. And it's sad that we have to do this type of podcast. Kristy and I say it all the time, but we have to bring these stories up front for the new generation that's coming in, and why they need the support of women who've already gone through this chaos, as I call it, because that's what it is, chaos. They lack that belief in themselves because of what's going on in the industry. It's just sad. It's sad.
Yeah, if you take time, I have just all the time in the world, I guess. You talk to truck drivers, especially the male truck drivers that will vocalize, women do not have room in trucking. They shouldn't be in the truck. They shouldn't be behind the wheel. At face level, that's disgusting. How can you say that? But then you start to uncover the why behind it. Tell me more behind it. They have valid statements. Would I let my daughter park in a truck parking lot that has no lights in the back of a gravel dirt lot by herself? She's the size of a twig, can't defend herself. Would I be okay with allowing that to happen? I don't know. That is a question. I don't know if I would feel safe doing that. But how do we?
Yeah, and then you have a boss lady like Ingrid Brown.
Yes.
Right. Yes. I mean, I call her a boss lady. I mean, she's a friend of mine. But and then you have. I hate to call her an abnormality, but she's a strong woman. She's small. She's not an enormous person, yet she takes care of herself and she makes a damn good living, and people respect her, and that's why we like talking to her because, she's a good representative of women in trucking in that field. what to expect, how to protect yourself, how to be cognizant of your surroundings, all this kind of stuff, not putting yourself in harm's way, you know.
But Jeff, how did she get there? How did she get there? Time,
hard knocks,
experience,
hard
right?
knocks.
So
Yes.
let's learn from that. Let's teach
Yes,
these women
absolutely.
those skills, right? You know,
Yes.
that's the whole part, bringing awareness, having strong women like Ingrid get out here with her voice. And not just Ingrid, there's tons of women out in trucking that have had a long journey that have this wisdom now, and just to carry that on, because the younger generation as a whole, it's hard to get younger generation into trucks, let alone younger females. So
Yeah.
having a team around you, I think that's important as a woman in logistics. You know, find that circle, find people, find leaders to help
Mhm.
you navigate your way through that arena and learn things that'll help you be safe. Learn how to speak, how to hold yourself. When I was in my 20s, I was so naive. Oh my gosh, everybody was my friend. Everybody liked me. You learn quickly. That's not the case. So it's about awareness, but I would like to see, the forward motion that's already taking place now to create safer parking lots. And that's not just for women, that's for everybody.
Everybody.
Safer, well lit parking locations, security cameras. It's just more dangerous in general. So I think things that are already taking place now will also impact and benefit women.
So would you say, because I was going to ask you next, if you implement one change to better support truck drivers, what would it be? Would you say it's that or something different?
So for truck drivers, that's a bigger question. One thing going to hit on the personal side of me. One thing that I would like to see changed for truck driver is obviously pay. I want to see pay changes. The economy has taken one heck of a hit. Me personally, our family has. If, to be quite honest and blunt, our trucking company wouldn't have sustained if I didn't have my career. And my husband's extremely smart with his business and runs a very lean business and saves money whenever, rates went through the roof and all the money was flooding in. I thought we should go take about 5,000 vacations and buy some red bottom shoes. He saw that much different. Said, we got to stack away hay. We got to save because everything that comes goes. And if you look historically in trucking, there are highs and lows. Yep. We hit an incredible high. Fortunately, my husband was able to save. But towards the end, we didn't have anything left. All the savings were depleted. So it's taken a big impact on families, on careers, on jobs. And so I would like to see rates change. And where that lives, I don't know, whether that's on the brokerage side and whether that lives on the, shipper side. Government, I'm sure, has everything to play in that. But I would like to see rates change.
Yeah, just all around.
I think we're all kind of waiting for that, right?
Am I speaking for everybody?
Yeah, I mean, one of my really good friends said this, and it just hit home. It's the truck drivers out there, whether male or female, they're one breakdown away from bankruptcy. That's how tight they're running. They're really running tight. So
you don't know how close to my heart you're speaking right now, Jeff, because I feel that very personally. That was our life about 3 months ago, and man,
tough.
Thank goodness we didn't have that breakdown because we would have been in the same boat.
Knock wood.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. And I know I'm on the brokerage side, and so is Jeff too. And at the end of the day, I know we both feel the same way, but these carriers are our customers too. Without the drivers, you can't do anything. So it doesn't matter. And they don't get taken care of the way that they should. And it's sad that that's the way it is. And are there companies that take advantage? Absolutely. I can tell you mine's not one of them. And I'm sure Jeff's isn't either. We want to be fair. At the end of the day, we're not going to be the cheapest one because not only do we need to make sure our drivers are paid well, but same with, we want to make sure that we're taken care of too. And at the end of the day, if we're not taken care of, you can't take care of that driver properly. It's just everyone pushing down that price. So
Kristy, I'm right there on the other side of the fence, right? With the company I work for. I'm very proud to work for the company I work for. We are not taking advantage of operational costs for these drivers. We are not, hidden fees and these fees or that fees or my fee and your fee. I work for a very solid company that makes sure that the driver comes first, the customer comes first, because I mean, at the end of the day, there are a lot of companies out there monopolizing because they jumped in when they saw how great it was.
Yeah.
And now they're trying to scramble because they don't know how to survive with what it is now.
Yeah, service over profits, and you got to take care of the people that take care of you. It's simple, isn't it? It's very, very simple. It's not a hard thought process.
And having a deep understanding of what a truck driver actually is, his day to day, understanding and having your team understand your drivers are out there when you're going home. Your drivers are out there taking showers in a community shower house, right? Yeah. Your drivers are out there sitting still for 3 hours. Why this company decides they need to take a lunch break and do orientation. My husband sits at rail yards hours upon hours, not getting paid a dime because they decided they needed to have a safety meeting in the middle of the day. Drivers can wait.
I think it's a mandatory requirement. I've said this for decades, that both a shipper and a broker should go for a ride with a trucker to see what's real out there. I did. I think it was the best idea because people take things for granted. They don't understand. Yeah. You know, they just look at it one side, inside out or outside in. They don't see the both and how they intertwine with each other and how critical they are. Once they understand that, their mindset kind of changes. And the first thing that comes to mind is, oh, hell, I wouldn't want to do that.
Yeah.
Truck driving. I mean, seriously.
No.
Well, my brother-in-law is a truck driver. He got a CDL like a year ago and whatnot. And obviously, like, there's only certain companies he can work for, right? Because he's new and because the insurance issue regulations, whatever. But one of the things he told me a few weeks ago just kind of came up when you just mentioned about like taking showers other places. He says the one part he doesn't like about the job is you getting all dirty and like he's done some flatbed stuff. And he's like, and then depending on where you're at, you might not get a great shower, like, and he just wants to be clean, you know? So,
yeah. I mean, we take advantage of being able to jump in our shower barefoot. My husband, the one thing he says when he was on the road is like, I can never feel like my feet get all the way clean. I'm always wearing shower shoes.
Yeah, you got to wear shower shoes.
I mean, it's just
be careful. You really do.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Those are the things people don't realize too, that like these drivers, some of them they're spending the nights in places and they don't have that nice hotel to go to and take a shower and all those type of things. So
and they can't wash their clothes like every single day either, you know?
Yeah.
It's terrible. It is.
Yes, it's a lifestyle.
It is.
It is.
But being in this industry, you need to respect that lifestyle.
Yeah, I agree.
A lot of people don't, unfortunately.
I agree.
So one of the things I think is very crucial is mentorship. So I'm curious if you've had any key mentors along your journey, or if you potentially mentor any people.
Yeah, I agree. I think that a mentorship is extremely valuable. Let me back that up a little bit. Formal or informal, I think it's important because I've had both. I've had a mentor that I reached out to, and it wasn't, funny enough, it wasn't in the trucking space. She was a leader on more of the financial side. She did project management, and the way she held herself, the way she controlled the room, the way she prepared all of her presentations, I was extremely impressed by. So she was very impactful to me in a much different way than I anticipated. I felt like mentorship where I walk in, you're going to show me all your secrets, give me your book of all the top ways to do everything. And it was much different. It was about the pressures she faced every day in her leadership role. It was about burnout being real. It was about taking care of yourself whenever you have to take care of your family, as well as a profession, as well as the pressure that you have coming from the top down on you. So she taught me a lot of valuable skills on when to identify burnout, how to manage that, and how to navigate being a career professional with a family at home as well. So she was very impactful to me. I have been a mentor, requested to be a mentor, which has been much harder for me. Funny enough, as a mom and in my role, I feel like, got this, I can teach you everything. Come on, get on my arm, let's go. But finding the time to do that and dedicating it to make sure that the mentee is getting everything they're asking for has been challenging. Because until you really respect your mentee and know what they're trying to do and what they're trying to get out of it, it's pointless. I can tell you everything I know, how I've gotten there.
Right.
What is that going to matter if you're not paying attention to what your mentee needs? So that's been a little bit more challenging for me. I would like to say I did a good job, but I'm pretty sure I probably dropped balls left and right. But I think I've been told that I am a mentee without knowing it, that people just following along and watching along has been helpful. And I would like to do more of that. That's why I accept invites to be on podcasts. That's why I love to go to shows, why I like to talk to as many people as I can, why I like being on the board of the foundation, is the opportunity to be able to show people, look, I don't know anything. And if you want it bad enough, you can get it. And I'm here to answer any questions you have and help. And please don't be afraid to ask those around you, and just be a sponge, because that is the best tool that you could ever have, is just people around you and learning different ways to do things. Don't be afraid to speak up. Right. A lot of people, and I'm going to say people as a whole, women, because that's what I'm surrounded with in a lot of these events, I find their biggest disadvantage is that they are too afraid to speak up. It's like, just speak up. I want to learn from you. I want to know your story, good, bad, or ugly. Let's compare. Let's take, share our notes. Let's collaborate on ideas, because the best things come out of collaboration.
Yeah. So why do you think that that's an issue for a lot of women? Like, have they expressed to you why they feel they can't speak up?
They're afraid. They're fear. And I'm sure that fear comes somewhere along their lifetime of being shut down, or being made to feel like they're inferior, or they probably around the wrong people that gave them, just criticized them. And whenever you're criticized or you're told you're doing something wrong, there could be two things. You could be told you're doing something wrong by somebody that truly cares about you and is trying to help you, and all you hear is you're not good enough.
Right.
Or you can be on the flip side of that, where somebody that is telling you that you've done something wrong is truly belittling and mean about it. And it's hard to get past that insecurity.
Yeah.
So it's really having an open mind to, thanks for what you said, but
right.
I'm going to just keep on going, and I'll take what you said in consideration, and having the confidence that just because you failed in the past does not mean that you won't succeed in the future. Just use all those tools to better build you as a character.
Yeah, I love it. Well, I mean, this was an awesome podcast, let me just say. And you had a ton of little nuggets that you threw out there during the whole show for everyone to learn from. Yes. And I always end with this last question. What's one piece of advice that you would, give anyone out there either looking to come in the industry or that's in the industry, even though you just gave a bunch of stuff, but like maybe just repeating something you feel is very important for someone to know?
Yeah, trucking and logistics are on high demand. They're high reward fields with growth potential. Success requires a mix of skill, adaptability, and determination. So stay informed, build connections, and invest in your professional development, and you will thrive in this industry.
Love it.
Love it. Yes. Well, it was awesome to have you on the show today.
Thank you for inviting me. I'd love to come back and chit chat more. I didn't realize it was going to be this easy. You guys are great conversationists.
Yeah. Yeah, I told you it was going to be pretty simple here. Just got to talk about your journey, and I love that you've been able to speak about your husband's journey too, because you've been such an integral part of it, and how you've built your career as well. So thank you so much again for sharing all that with our people today.
Thank you for the invite, you guys. It's great meeting you and speaking with you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jessica, for joining us. You definitely informed everybody out there that there's two sides of the business. There's your personal life and your business life, and how they intertwine and how tough it is. It's been over the last several years, but if you got the mindset, you will push through and bust through those barriers and jump over those obstacles, and look where you're at now. It didn't come easy. I don't think it comes easy for anybody, but if there's a will, there's a way.
Agreed.
So, well, thank you everybody for joining Jessica, Kristy, and myself here on the Storytelling Chronicles, empowering women into logistics. I am the Bodacious Cowboy. We will be back in 2 weeks with another episode of the Storytelling Chronicles. So follow, share, like, and we'll see you the next time. Thank you.